As the green tide is set to rise, so too will wall tactics. What I mean by that is we have some new content, guys. So today will be a chill. I got stuff I can decide to paint, but it is actually intended to have our channel members call in, me just talk in general. This is our trial run prototype, figuring it out as a whole. So if you like the content, it goes well, et cetera, let me know. That way we can keep it up and keep it going and come out with more topics, etc. So this is for everyone. This is a great time. Like chat's already getting stuck in and started with the great question. Who else is going to kit bash their own Wazdaka? Right? So sweet, fantastic. That's a great question. I almost want to put it as a poll. So shout out to the rewatch gang if you rewatch this, but this year is going to be the year of being the best live channel. No, I'm joking. So what's up to everybody in chat? We'll go to the call-ins for a little bit once we get a topic going. Red one goes faster. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Yeah, we're doing earlier streams, different types of streams, etc. Preparing for next edition. I have more availability now, so I can do earlier streams. I'm not restricted like I used to be, so I can do other stuff. Like I said too, I actually had some painting going on here. You guys would check out my ugly models. I'm not a great painter, but that's okay. You don't got to be great to be a 40K fan. So hopefully you're painting or just talking, but we're gonna talk about. We're going to probably move over to the channel members here real quick and start asking people some questions. You let me know too what you guys are doing. In the meantime, I can paint. As you can see, I'm trying to get this beast boss ready. He doesn't look as bad as I remember last time I was painting him. Sorry, the point of view for you looks dumb unless I turn it more. So here's my beast boss. You can tell me what you guys think. I literally broke his hat with hair, like I'm sure many of you guys have done it for me. Burners on deck for some. I see you in chat halls. Yeah, exactly. Get something done. This is what I'm working on. I need a better ink. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm using this, right? It's called Villainy Goon Grime ink. I don't know if sometimes people use like shades to darken their models, etc. I need to get something better. I was suggested something else by some friends, but I got this bright kind of metallic paint. And it's just kind of popping really hard, even with that ink putting on it, as you guys can see. And I like my orcs a little bit more gritty. So I'm changing over from GW paints to Pro Acryl. And this is one of my models work in progress. Like right here, the Squigs DACA, right? It's a little too bright. This is already with ink shading, right? So some people don't mind that. You let me know what you think. Is he too bright? Does this metallic pop too much? I can't hold it in front of the camera right. And let's move over to the call in with the channel members. I use Pro acrylic as well. Oh, the black wash? All right, homie. I'll take you into your models look sick in that picture. So I'm gonna take your advice. I'll look over into that black wash because I don't have that. So yeah, what's up, chat? Everybody, let's talk. Give them what you're working on. We're gonna talk about the new edition and all the reveals. So let's move over to the channel members. We got the Big Mac Brandon. We got Jank, and we got Zach. So we got a bunch of guys here on deck. Actually, two of them have been on the channel before. So let's get into it. So starting off, right now I have all my gets muted up. It looks like they have to unmute, or we'll see what happens. But I want to ask what everybody's newest, pro, reveal, a Dex edition inspiration thing you've heard of that has actually made you the most excited for the next edition. So yeah, for me, and I also put in there, how else do I put it? Because I don't want to be negative, but like, what is something that you're really excited for? Yeah, a little cautious about. For example, the most obvious one is the 15 inches needed before you can shoot somebody, right? I need to get within 15 inches to even shoot something that hasn't themselves activated, right? Or so if you haven't activated yourself, then you could just stand there, which is great for orcs, right? For other armies, they're like, oh, I want to actually be able to speak and such. In this case, it's speak. In this case, I want to be able to shoot you and then run in, right? But for orcs, we love that. So yeah, just trying to get my gets going so they can talk in chat too. By the way, guys, that's why you see me messing over here, messing around. So I think the 15-inch rule is one of those things where, let's say you're a Space Marine player, you want a combined arm. They might be a little scared of that rule, having to close the distance that much. Tau, the funny part is will Tao even have to abide by that rule, for example? So I'm really interested about a lot of the changes. I did get to listen in on and hear about a lot of stuff about that GW slash TO conversation that they had to kind of get more of the truth pointed out. And so some of those things were really exciting, right? Like the different kind of terrains we can actually use. So yeah. The different terrains that are going to be possibly optional, the different missions, how they're going to match up. They straight up said they're not trying to take inspiration from other additions to that extreme to mess things back up. They're not going to mess up the system of allying armies, for example. There's a lot of really good stuff that's been kind of hemmed out for me, that I'm like, okay, this is what, this stuff that you hear is maybe more of a stipulate, what's it called, a leak or a people an assumption, and then there's the things that people cannot kind of verify. And so now we kind of know what's been more verified than not. So yeah, let's see what's going on here and what's up with chat. Oh, somebody just responded right now on chat. Oh yeah, I didn't know if you guys were muted on yet. So you name one thing. I think I'm really excited about that rule, but then I'm like, it seems so one-sided to a degree, right, for us melee people, that I'm wondering that there's some kind of caveat. So what do you think? What is your number one favorite takeaway and such? We'll start with the generic things, and then we can move more orc. Of course, chat, you guys can say it too. I can read out the chats. You know what I'm saying? So you guys and chat and here as well. So Jank, you go first. Uh, Yeah, and they're gonna have, speaking of tournament packs, they're gonna have team ones and single ones. So they're gonna have different ones for each one for the mission pack, so people kind of set that up. Um, yeah, in GW is definitely based what we've become aware of now. Not just if they say something, I can't hear it. Someone said they can't hear you. Let me see. I have to actually. Oh, discard that. We can hear you. They can hear you. All right, cool. Make sure I messed that up, guys. But what was I just saying? That they definitely care a lot about making the game thematic and narrative now, and that's their priority. Just saying, like, it was pretty clear from what's been brought to my attention. Like, it's not we're taking this into consideration because balance, or you want to sell a certain model. It's like they want every game to represent um what 40K could be or what it is in theory. So yeah, yeah. Is Big Mac there or Zach? Does anybody else have their they said cannot hear the caller. All right, I got this. I got this, you guys. We're gonna get this up. I'm gonna fix this real quick. I got you. I'm gonna set it up, guys. I think I know what to do. Pull this up. Should let me see. So can you guys hear the guest now? Go ahead, guest. Way to test this with the guest live, guys. So what's up to everybody here? So can you guys hear them? Thanks, chat. Look at that's what I meant. All right, sorry guys, I didn't mean to argue with the chat. Are you guys there? All right, see guys, it's for the live. Nope, they can't hear them. Then it might be the permissions that when I do that next time. So one more time. Don't worry, I got this. All right, now you're up.
What's good
Testing,
in the
testing.
hood?
Hello?
Whoa.
That was a nice
Like,
guttural wah. I liked it. Hopefully they got it. Ah, man, they're missing some
Let's see.
straight up gold.
Oh,
oh yeah, it's
I'm
working.
seeing a
It's
thumbs
working.
up.
Yeah,
There we go.
see thumbs up.
Here we
Hey,
go, lads.
There we go. All right, cool. Well, they couldn't hear anybody, so we'll put you from last, Jank, this time. Zach, you go first. Go ahead. Let us know what's your thing that you are most looking forward to with the next edition, yet a little apprehensive about.
I think it's probably the detachment mixing. Like I'm cautiously optimistic. From what I heard, apparently everything is getting all keywords, like all effects.
Hmm.
But like at the same time,
That's pretty
I'm
crazy.
very worried how that's going to affect just balance overall, because that sounds like it's just going to break things like a ninth edition.
Yeah, if they can find a way, they can. Like if there's a way, we will. And
Yeah,
as players.
yeah, I'm worried that they're just going to optimize the flavor out of it, and GW hasn't really shown any actual like flavor rules yet.
Yeah,
Like
that's a good point.
they've been saying it's narrative, but they haven't actually shown what's narrative other than we don't have circles on the floor anymore.
Yes, right. Exactly. That's a good way to say it. They're saying the the way in their mind they're doing it is one, the utilization of terrain, that there's going to be more versatile terrain. Two is when you build your list. This is what from their point of view, from what I understand, right? From their point of view, is when you build their lists, when you build your list and you have your matchup against your opponent, that itself sets up a narrative because it sets up the mission, right? Because your list design and your opponent both influence what the mission will be. So that already begins there's a you and there's a me, narratively speaking, how this is supposed to develop. So that's one way. But you're right, they haven't made any specific rules. Like when I said, one of the videos I did was, oh, well, I want the warlord to be +2 attacks or whatever I said, right? They haven't actually said anything related to that, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, I think they did say that every faction will have access to every disposition in some way, and that kind of goes against like the narrative thing, because I can't imagine world eaters sitting on an objective. That's just not what they do, but they do have access to that, so that's like, kind of goes against that again as well.
Yeah, but from what I understand too, and this is why it's good to have the talk, is they
Mm.
actually considered that, and World Eaters was the example where they said that means that the enemy, for example, like World Eaters, would probably be playing Purge the Foe a lot more often, and that is so
Oh,
that
of course,
the
yeah.
narrative is going to influence your mission more. That you might have to play the same mission, possibly multiple times at the same tournament. So for the World Eaters player, instead of them being forced to do something they don't want to do, they will just actually end up being put into that situation again and more so. So that's from
Yeah,
what I
that
understand.
that's fair. That's fair. I guess they do also have the option to choose to just focus on objectives instead of having to do it. So yeah,
Yeah.
true. That's fair.
But we're also gonna have that secondaries card still, right? I don't know which ones. I don't know if they're
Mm-mm.
new. I don't know anything like that. But if you have secondary cards, then again, like you still brought up, you're still gonna have to do these secondaries. So there's always gonna be a little bit of that in the game. I think
And they
you
did say
can
there's a second
consider
set
it
of
like
cards.
sorry, I mean interrupt you. What?
And they did say there's also a second set of cards that they haven't revealed yet.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. What if it says like a secondary that you have to do? Yet if you're a certain detachment style, that you can do a different variation of that, right? So like if you're an outrider or like speed detachment, it might be in your deployment zone. And then if you're some kind of vehicle heavy infantry, whatever, heavy elite archetype, they might say detachment. They might say, okay, you just have to do it in the mid table. So it could be, the secondaries might even have a variance within them. If you're this style, do this. I don't think so. I don't know so. But these are things we can consider when we're thinking about, well, my army is drastically different than this other. Yeah, we're gonna have the same secondaries.
Mm.
It's like maybe,
just
maybe
as
not.
long as they don't do the army specific ones again, man.
That was trash.
That was so
They
bad.
said they're not doing that though. Just from what I understand, like
That
Hey,
seems some.
they
That
anybody
seems.
can say anything, but from what I really much understand is they don't want to do that again either. Uh, Big Mac, you there?
oh yeah, you know I'm here. Let me tell you what I'm most excited about, and it's also my fear, right?
Oh,
My fear, my. I'm excited that Gork and Mork answered our prayers, and the new charge rules will single-handedly make pigs great again. right? Pressure and
Oh
being
hell
able
yeah,
to
please.
tidal wave arm slap your opponents with a bunch of pigs moving fast, charging everything is going to be awesome. The fear that I have is that that will be so awesome at the beginning that GW will overcorrect and they will smack us down. And we will spend 3 months of the edition, in the penalty box before they go back and fix us again.
That's actually a good point. That, what if they say, all right, we're gonna definitely give melee more of a chance. We're gonna help the community, and so therefore we're gonna bring all these melee beneficial rules. And then the shooting part and the factions that hate shooting will be like, you just took away the game from us. This is the future. What are we doing? Getting stuck. Go play AOS. And so there's a chance that, yes, then GW slowly starts to pull back on some of those rules. I'm not even thinking about just for the greenskins. I'm thinking just as a whole, what if they start to retract on some of the general rules they start with, right? Like they had to with this edition with like mortal wounds, for example, or devastating wounds, sorry.
Yeah, and I mean the thing I worry about with those little secondary pieces, right? Or I think it was actually like the selective primary piece. They're going to have to really think about how they've tuned some armies because some armies will just be so much of a nightmare for certain types of primary. I think about like, I thought I saw one of the primaries was just about holding objectives. Cool. Dear God, if you keep custodian guard that good on objectives and their entire primary is to just hold the objectives, you're going to have a rough time in some games. It's going to be rough.
One example they brought up for that actually was Deathwing Knights, that they don't want to establish a game system where someone can just stand on one objective with Deathwing Knights and win the game. So it seems like they considered that, but there's a lot of things that we all plan for that don't go that way once we start to execute, right? So it still is a factor that we have to consider that they still might end up making a game like that. So yeah, that's true too. And one of the chats right here is, I think, is a better way to put it than how I've been saying it is. I think they're aiming more towards immersion than narrative. That actually doesn't. That's a better way to word it. They're definitely caring more about in your head, you're getting put into the game and you're creating that story that might actually play out in a book, quote unquote. So no, that's a great comment. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll definitely try to say that more. Definitely more towards immersion. Did you want to finish your thought there, Brandon, about a rule you're worried about? You said just melee itself, right? Or you mean our melee?
Well, yeah, I mean, so pretty much my rule is how they're doing those, pick your primary and how they interact with each other, right? And like fully coming through with the data sheets, right? Them saying that the books are still valid makes me think that there's going to be less data sheet manipulation happening as far as complete overhaul. So a lot of rules as written currently now might find their way into the game. So if they're not careful with how they do that primary, I think it could be a little wonky as people kind of find out the broken pieces with this new piece. But ultimately, man, I'm super excited as long as Eldar are not broken launch. I think we're going in the right direction.
Oh my! You had to specify Eldar. Yeah, no, I think that's a good one. And we're always the beta testers, like I've been saying. So regardless of how much we're all worried about it, and they can clearly improve, I think they're going to be in for a fun, interesting ride, especially as we're going to be the first, codex. Is what I think, right? We're the first codex, one of the first codexes.
And that booby trap primary is going to be fun with commandos.
Commandos.
Be an interesting piece.
There's a bunch of cool ones that they like I said, they're trying to make the game immersive, where your units are doing things other than I stand over here and I do that, which is very interesting. But like Zach said earlier, they're leading us on with a lot of possibilities, but they're not really explaining it, which is a good way to hype us up. I'm not saying they don't have an answer. I'm just saying we don't actually know that yet.
And who's excited for that new walker, baby? That thing looks sweet.
It's not a rule, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I should put out a poll, huh? I gotta take you guys.
That sounds right.
Maybe. Let me see chat. Well, I gotta interact with chat too because they're going hard right now. Guess what chat's talking about? If you guys can guess without looking, which you guys actually might be looking. So, it's Stampa, of course. Somehow the Stampa always comes to light. Let me see if I can get.
I mean, love the Stompa, man.
It
Iconic.
wasn't the trailer.
You love the what?
Oh, I said the Stompa is iconic. And then go ahead, Zach.
It wasn't the trailer. Like 2 of them.
Yeah, they keep showing it a lot. I don't know if they'll actually, do anything with it. Let's see. And how will any of you guys actually kit bash? Boom. I'm having a brain fart. I call them boom wagon. Is anybody gonna? Is anybody gonna? Wazdaka? Is anybody going to kit bash Wazdaka?
Kitbashing
I was thinking about it. Oh, go ahead.
Probably, but I don't even have any normal bike yet. So.
People are
can't
thinking
wait
they
to get my
want.
hands
It's
on
like,
it.
what would you use? Make your own bike out of a trike, I guess, and just make a weird one. I don't know. I don't think it's necessary, really, but at the same time, people, it's a very orky thing.
That's assuming
Just
he's going to
what
be
you
on the
get.
same base as the trike too.
I was looking at that. I'm like, man, I hope he isn't on the same base.
I mean, just to let you know, you can find some pretty good recasts of the OG War Boss on bike that is just there to loot up.
True. I mean, I actually have my War Boss on bike still.
That was a killer model, man, back in the day. Killer Claw on that bad boy.
Let's see. I put a poll out for the chat. It took me a second, guys. Sorry, that's why I was looking all goofy. Like I said, chat, there's a new thing we're doing here, but I'm having fun with it. It's more live chats are fun, anyways. I'm having call-ins, right? Look at us all modern now. Let me see. Let me get back to the chats here. So far, actually, we got like almost a 50-50 going on in the chat. So I mean, in the call we might all be like we're gonna get it, but in chat it's almost 50-50. It's 54-46 right off the rip.
That's sweet.
Dang. So people, shout out to the wall, dude. I give Orc credit for that. It's a cool model, but at the same time they hate that stuff. Back to like what Zach was saying though, yes, they have been showing the Stampa. Like I said though, is that really just for promotional purposes, or are they leading us on with him?
I don't think it's going to see a change. I think the stomp is going to be the exact same way that it's been forever, unfortunately. I think it's just tying into promotional stuff. They did just put out, or they're going to put out new Armageddon rules with the Eye of Terror books that are coming out in a couple weeks. I think it's a lot more to tie in with stuff like that.
Okay. Just showing off big stompy stuff, right?
Yep. It's just hype.
Just hype. I have a feeling it's just hype too. It's like one of the most easy ways to recognize orc and to be like, what is that? What's going on? If you don't know what orcs are yet.
Yo.
To be fair, at least it means it's still there. They could have just put it in Legends.
That's true. And we still get the Dread Mob. Now, how good and useful will it be in Dread Mob? I have no idea. But yeah. I don't know what I should do this.
Well, I mean, if we can combine Dread Mob and Mordaka, it gets Assault as well.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ways we could do that, right? They did, we do know that very, very, very likely that they're doing a point system for all the detachments. We don't know if it's exclusively the new ones, but if we do the ones that we have on hand with the codex and the other detachments, that will get really crazy for everybody in 40K, in my opinion. But that brings up the ideas. Does that become immediate bloat of just rules? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know what anybody could do because everybody has X amount of detachments and can mix it in X amount of ways.
I'm actually a bit worried that we're just going to lose a lot of our stuff because we're very early because we're getting the first codex, and I can't imagine that they're keeping all of our detachment for the new book.
I think if anything, that's probably good thing, though. I think that a lot of our current detachments need a bit of a rework to fit into a detachment soup style of a structure. There's so much redundancy between detachment rules and stratagems across our detachments that I'm actually here for a notion that like our detachments get a bit of a significant rework come the new codex, but in a way that doesn't necessarily like obsolesce. It just helps further support current armies. But that's admittedly a bit pie in the sky.
Yeah, GW giving us a bunch of work when we're going to be one of the first codexes. I don't know about that. Maybe.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of the like Mordaka, tactical, Dreadmob, they just have very similar playstyles. Like in general.
I would
Like,
disagree
if you
with
don't focus on
one of
walkers,
those
they
on
have,
that list.
Whoa.
I mean,
So Flynn right now, $5 super chat, but he just brought up something fun. Speed Freak on console, July 16th. Maybe they'll add Wazdaka as a character. Speed Freaks is the new 40K game, so they have a bunch more 40K games. And I do play that. Shout out to the Discord. I do play that. I've played it a couple of times with Discord. I need to play more. But it's pretty fun. You just play as a bunch of Speed Freak units, obviously, and destroy stuff. And there's stomping in the game and everything like that. It would be, I don't know how you'd integrate Wazdaka, but that would be awesome. I love that. That's a great super chat. So shout out to Flynn as one of the gets who was playing as well. So
also the only place where you can actually play as a looted tank.
oh, that's true, right? That's the only place you can play as a looted tank, which I played as the most. I think that's my most used vehicle by far is the looted tank. You guys know I have a bit of love for big stompy stuff all the time, So it plays great.
On a side note, I'm hoping for the detachments, man. We get something similar to TAC. If not TAC, give me something similar to TAC.
My boy wants TAC back, dude. My boy wants TAC
so
back, dude.
Do not take TAC away from me. I will cry.
The GW is like, never will you shoot again, orcs. The community hates you guys for when you guys shoot. But yes, shout out to Flynn. That's a great comment, super chat, and I appreciate the love. For sure. We gotta play again. Ooh! As chat's saying right now too. Oh, and speaking of, if there's a game for the PC and for the console, they're gonna have Dawn of War. We might get like a show, where a lot of the Warhammer Plus stuff that you see all the time. It's just they're putting orcs forward, man. We're just too easy to promote to the general community, in my opinion. People don't know anything about 40K. They can look at an orc.
Did you guys get
and
to see
understand.
Penitence?
What?
Did any of you guys get to see Penitence? Right? What do we think about the Commandos representation in Penitence?
Was that with Sisters of Battle?
Yes, it was.
I don't think I've seen the whole thing. Maybe I did.
Yeah, they did pretty good on it, except for an orc losing a 1v1 against a battle sister who like prison shanks him in the side.
Oh, okay, we did see the same one. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I did appreciate that he went out getting her, getting a stab in on her too. It did make him look ferocious, but it is, of course, orcs be losing those 1v1s whenever GW needs to promote them, right?
Yeah, they do have a tendency to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess she had good faith dice, and he wasn't in the walk, so
Yeah, he didn't have his 5-up invul. He just.
Yeah.
We've all had an orc die to some small arm sister's fire on accident and be like, oops. Model kind of, man, I'm sucking with this model. It's all right though. Pretty dark.
It was a bit of a shame.
Oh, go ahead.
It was a bit of a shame that orcs weren't in the April Fool's musical thing, but let's be honest, orcs get their own rock opera. That's how that works out.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Let's see what was going on also in chat as well. What are these? We need a return of our combi rockets. Yeah, for sure. What's up, Tara? Whoa! We need combi weapons back in general. I think most people want that. I wonder. And Wargear as a whole, right? We can talk about Wargear. Jank, what do you think? Wargear, you go first. What's up?
I'm not expecting like individual warrior costs, if that's what you're talking about. I think we're going to be seeing things a lot more akin to how they've been styling a lot of that in 10th edition, where you're going to be doing different Wargear gives you different like data sheet unit abilities.
Okay, that's true. I do like that.
You can point those differently too.
Yeah. What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, I think that they want to stick with the, what you buy in the box you play, right? Without pulling points into it. I kind of think close to what Kit said. Like they're going to say if you got the power clause, for instance, here, like you have this ability. If they're decked out with kill saws, you have kind of this thing. And I'm excited to see how they possibly interact that with unit enhancements. Now that you don't have to have the character on there.
Yeah. I think another tell that way is that our boys are just getting all of our war gear moving forward. We're not gonna have a split between shootas and choppas anymore.
Yeah. What do you think, Zach?
I honestly expect at least a limited amount of Wargear points, just because Crucible actually also had that. Like if your weapons came with like a 10-point tax or something. So I'm expecting a little bit of Wargear costs to come back, but like not the whole extensive list. Like just okay, this unit's getting a last cannon just as a Space Marine example, and they have to pay like 5 points extra. But not for just the plasma gun.
I can see that on like characters specifically starting to become more of a thing, but I think like on individual units that seems a little bit more granular than I think they want to go.
Yeah, it's just because like basically every single rule in the Maelstrom book so far has been implemented in some capacity for 11th. So I'm just expecting Crucible to also kind of be in there in some capacity.
I get what you're saying.
Which keeps me optimistic.
So you do want more gear?
Oh, I definitely want more customization.
More custom, yeah, and I
and
mean,
also granularity.
One of the things GWs did say is that they want to promote more levers for balancing, more ways that they can balance the system, right? That's the way most people are putting it. And, some kind of war gear variation of if you have power claws, you get this ability. If you have big choppas, you get another one, right? There could be some variation in that. So that would be pretty sick. Actually, I want to
They
return
need to
to
do
the
something
poll.
to make the big choppa good again, man.
Okay, the poll got a little bit more washed in one direction. Now it's 70% saying that they're going to kitbash Wazdaka.
That's wild. That's so cool.
That's so awesome, dude. No one knows this yet, I bet, in the whole the whole 40K community. That orcs get a new model and they're like, I can't wait to kitbash him, dude. You seen those guard models? I'm gonna totally attach one of those to him. like I could just see that.
I mean, is it really your walk when you don't touch up any other characters?
Right. Let's see. I'm looking also. You guys keep chatting about what you were saying, but I was also seeing what else chat was.
So something that I mentioned before we were actually audible to listeners was I'm really excited about the change to the way objectives work, even though I'm a bit disappointed to lose my circles. I think that's going to be a really interesting way of balancing the game. They talk about that in like the mission structure article too, that every pairing of missions will have up to 3 different map layouts. So
yes,
I think that'll be a way that they kind of balance against the new melee seeming to lean rules, is that like you can get away with a little bit lighter of a terrain layout if terrain is just going to be better at blocking line of sight and protecting units.
Yeah, because one thing is that they definitely going to have more dense table and terrain for sure. That was definitely the first part that we were coming. But also to what you were saying is that the different layouts will also cause variety, because you might have to play Purge the Foe multiple times as an orc, for example, playing a Warhorde. So the layouts, they're definitely going to have to add variety to that. And they're thinking, like 40 to 50 kind of renditions of way they can do it. They say that, yet we have these because I meant not renditions of layouts. I just mean a variety when you mix the different missions with the detachments, with the layouts, with everything all together. It's supposed to add a bunch of variety with different layers. Yet I'm like, well, You know, for example, most people don't like some of the missions and layouts that already exist and won't even run them at their events at this point. So I am interested how that'll go for missions that you're going to be forced into between everybody, right?
Real.
That's going to be interesting.
And I wonder what it's going to be like having to rearrange at the table for TOs. Like rearrange everything at the table when you rook up, depending on what your primaries are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're thinking that one, you'll definitely still have to do a little bit of changing up once in a while, but they might be able to just leave them for like the first day, like we still do now for big events or something like that. So I think there is some TO flexibility in that. I have to kind of look back at the notes and everything, but they did actually have something about that they were worried about or considering that they want everything to be more streamlined. That way it's easier for transitioning tables and such like that. So there is some kind of way they want to streamline that, even though they expect us to struggle at first. Like of course we will.
Speaking of like easy access to terrain stuff, I am wondering if we're actually going to get a full terrain set in the launch box, or at least the footprints.
I think the footprints. They're gonna make them available. Don't know how. They might just probably sell them to us, right? But they will probably have ways to like get them other ways to third parties so that we could get them. I assume because it's just supposed to be like some kind of basing, right? One thing is like the pipes you get from Kill Team. They're saying some of the actual little layout outline platforms might be only like 2 inches wide but like 7 inches long. So then that would be a pipe system, and that might be one of the terrains that are going to be on your map.
Yeah, from what I heard, like the main focus of the terrain is just going to be the footprint. So they could easily probably just include like thick paper, like
exactly,
plates of it, just put in the box for cheap, and they'll say, "Oh, it comes with full terrain."
Yeah, exactly. Like when they would do the little cutouts of the of your own board for like 1,000 points.
Yep.
So no,
I would hope that it's at least neoprene, but.
And Chad, if you guys have any questions, you can ask me too, Chad, in live chat, because there's some things that I'm a little more aware of that I can clear up if I'm aware if it is something I know, like if you ask. So, but something I don't know is, for example, we don't know what size WASDOC's base is on yet. What's up, J Hugh? Whoa! I think we have an idea. Some people assume the trike size. Some people assume a little smaller.
I'm guessing he's on the same size as the Beast Boss on Squigosaur.
Like a round
it
base?
Look like a circular.
His is circular. Yeah, the WASDOC's base did not seem circular from what I understand. Sorry guys, if you're watching live, you're watching me struggle with the brush to do some teeth. So yeah, I appreciate that.
I'm trying to think, what size base is the Disco Lord on? Is that the same base as the
He's a bike size, yeah.
That's a good call.
He's trike sized.
No, he's not trike sized.
He's not. Oh no, he's one smaller, right? I have mine around the corner here.
Yeah,
I think it's
almost feel like that's the size that they could put him on. I feel like the size that could put him on would be a Disco Lord.
It's bigger than the knob on Smash this way for sure, right?
That feels a little small, doesn't it? The knob on Smash.
I'm saying it's bigger than that.
Oh, it's bigger than that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll be.
If I had to guess, I played GSC, and I'm guessing it's probably like the same size as the Achilles Ridge Runner. Oh, what's the size of that base?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good guess about that size.
Which wouldn't be terrible. And I mean, I know everybody's all down for Kitbashing, but I do have to admit, I got to give them their flowers. That thing looks sweet.
Yeah, 120 by 92.
No, speaking of though, like Nerf is saying, Nerf 02 for starters. I have 2 war bosses on bike models. I can't use anymore. I can throw one on a tactical rock, right? So at the same time, it's like, bro, it's tactical rock's kind of silly / easy way to make something look different.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Watch them include round terrain pieces. No, they definitely don't care, dude. That's going straight to the mouse pad. So yeah, for sure.
That would be wicked. I'm almost here for it.
It would be very funny.
And people still want this. There's no way the GW is going to make the Stompa less than 700 points ever. I'm fighting for 750 so we don't pay the mech tax. For example. Sorry, I was trying to do some TAFE.
What unit would most people want to glow up for?
For what, the orcs?
Yeah, like if we're
Squigs.
getting the
Squigs.
wishing time now.
Squigs.
Squigosaur.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Yeah, that's actually a good one to ask everybody too. We can go round robin on that. We'll start with Zach this time. Zach, model that wants to glow up first.
Realistically, the Gargantuan Squigosaur, I'm happy if it even survives.
Dang.
But yeah, honestly, probably as weird as it is, either the Warboy or the Pain Boss, because both of them are just complete wastes of space right now. And they've been kind of shit ever since 10th edition started.
Dude, Warboy is
Yeah.
awesome. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he sucks. So you want the Warboy to get a glow up?
Honestly, yeah.
Well,
like, we're getting a new weird boy. I also want the Warboy to not be awful.
Okay, Warboy, opposite of a glow up, he's going to just become a piece of the kill rig model, and they won't even include him anymore. He'll be like a Wargear option.
Honestly, if he's just a Weeble with the Snagger keyword, I'm happy.
Yeah. But no, I'm joking. All right, then what about Jank? What's the model you want to glow up? It can be aesthetically or with rules, it doesn't matter.
I'm thinking that the Big Mech with custom force field might actually be what the Walker is.
No.
And that's what I'm hoping for.
No, that'd be crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I wanted both. I want a new model, and I want the Big Mech to be a different than the Warboss and Mega Armor. But that's true. That's something that you haven't heard before. I haven't really heard too much about. What if he is the Big Mech in custom force field? So that is a thing. But he's now just in a walker.
Yeah, it could be both.
Okay, so your glow up idea is the Big Mech with the custom force field. I think okay. I'm not gonna say what I think. All right, well then, Brandon, what do you think?
So I love Squigs of all variety. I think it's no secret that I would dig.
No, don't say two, dude. You got to say one.
But my one pick would be to put some respect back on the Beast Boss and Squigosaur's name. Okay, like he got too dumbed down in this edition, and that boy used to be feared on the tabletop, and now he's just laughed at. So they need to put some respect on my boy's name.
Yeah, I actually have some thoughts.
Even Necrons are better than that. All right, I'll give mine my quote unquote glow up, and then we'll go to that thought. Don't lose it.
What's the glow up?
I'm gonna say it sounds weird, but I want the Big Mech and Mega Armor to look sick. Just because whenever you hear one in the lore, how they're described, very armored, almost the size of a dreadnought, a lot of weapons, DACA, the grots on them, force fields, teleport. There's all these different weird gizmos and bits that they can have. And if Meganauts are going to get their own kit, get separated, they're going to pull that character out of that kit likely. Then he might get a really cool customized kit, which even in the past I used for Kitbashing, right? Some of my Big Mech and Mega Armor bits I used on other stuff and made like war bosses and Mega Armors or different normal baby mechs, like a basic mech like I'm holding here that I'm Kitbashed. So I think the War Boss and Mega Armor might be the most sleeper pick that no one's thinking about, and all of a sudden GW is going to be like, oh, that War Boss and Mega Armor doesn't exist in the old kit anymore. Now he's a new one, and he looks like a little dreadnought. You know what I'm saying? Like he's smaller than Gaz, but he just has like weapons. I went too long, but that's what I think.
I'm here for that. Like honestly, a Mega Mech almost looking a bit like a Death Thread or a Killican would be hella sweet.
Right.
And then I will say the Mega Boss kit, even though it's push fit, that kit looks really good. But I could be here for an even cooler looking one.
I mean, the Mega Boss kit needs to get an update anyways to a multi kit, anyway, so that's a possibility. But you had a thought? Did you have a thought you wanted to let out?
Yeah, so I wanted to go back to talking about the Squig Boss needing an upgrade, and I actually think that that's gonna happen. And I think that the Squig Hog boys in general are gonna be getting a bit of a glow up because I think we're going to see a split of that datasheet again, where the knob on Smash the Squig actually splits off and becomes like a lieutenant style unit. Because they've talked about how they'll have support and like true leader units or whatever, and like the true leader units don't necessarily have to be attached. So seeing Squig Boss have a return to almost like its index style rules, but being able to attach to Knob and Smash a Squig and Squig Hog Boys still might be an option we see going forward.
The real answer that we didn't all that Zach got the closest to saying was the gargantuan squigoths or some type of squigoth in general. But yes, to answer for chat or rewatch gang, right? You guys can put what you guys think too. Yeah, and right here, chat. So anyone excited for the new orc literature? Yeah, dude, I'm actually finishing the new Gaz book that just came out. I do listen to it on Audible. So I generally try to do listen while I'm at work. So I'll miss a part, so I have to rewatch them, right? So I think that's a good one. But do you guys even listen? I would put polls up for this before. It seems like maybe 30% of the community, from what I'm aware of, keeps up with the lore, maybe 40. And then the rest kind of is in the middle where they know a little bit. And then there's like a 20% that just don't care at all.
I keep up with it a little bit. The last Gaz book, I enjoyed extremely. I felt it was too short. I wanted it to be larger.
The newest?
So yeah, I'm excited to read the new one. I never got into the Brutal But Cunning series, even though I know that's an unpopular opinion.
Is almost as much a Drakari love story as it is an actual orc fiction. But it's very, very good as an orc fiction. Very, very
It is
good.
really funny.
Which ones?
The Big Daka. There's a whole like Drakari Tsundere subplot that's going on. That is the reason that Uthak is even on Kimura.
Yeah. Yeah, I listened to that one too. I do like his lore for how he became so big. I think we appreciate that as orcs or in general, that we get more abilities to grow and be awesome in the lore. The way they can make people kind of extra big or extra smart, because like in some of the books that I'm talking about, because of our clan cultures and the personalities mixed with entertainment and comedic effect, make orcs really good for just having different storylines as well, which is what's so appealing about them right now for GW. You can have orcs become mercenaries. You can have them interfight for literally no reason other than to be orcs. You have grots, you have pit squigs, you have the clan dynamics. It just gets really good. So way more variety than, for example, Tyranids or, no offense, World Eaters as like antagonists or whatever. So I look forward to it.
I did like the Genestealer representation in the Grotsnake book though. That was pretty fun.
Genestealers, yeah, Genestealers are another one that's kind of slept on, but it's hard because they're sub faction within a faction essentially.
Yeah.
So it's hard to you can't support.
Their books are good though.
That much, and you'd have to explain that to people too, right? That's the thing. Orcs, you don't got to really explain an orc, but if you put someone else, they've never seen Warhammer, you know what an orc is. Don't know what Genestealer is. You're like, is that dude like a mutated bug man? What is that? So then you got to be like, no, well, kinda, yeah. So shout out to Weird Boy, because I like talking about the literature and such. Probably a part of the new content I'll do is just for my own fun, make content stuff about that. Of course, Zach, 2 AP squigs would be peak. They definitely should have that as like a passive rule. Nobody cares about their rule now, their data sheet ability. It should be, if they complete a charge on a vehicle, monster, additional AP, for example. It's really not even that hard to change. GW is just silly. And I have been using my pigs. So it's like I do actually play my squig pigs. It's not like I'm just talking smack. As much as I'm realistic about how much they suck, I do actually show them love on the tabletop. Ooh, let's see, what time is it?
I'm just.
Oh, I actually have to go soon, so we're gonna have a button up here. It gets for our first ever members call-in stream. So you guys get your last thoughts in here because yeah, I have to go somewhere. But this was only our first attempt, and I'll have way more better stuff that we can demonstrate. And of course, we can always have new callers. If you're a member, if you're a different kind of member, not in Discord, let us know in the comments, and then maybe I'll set up a way so Facebook people I can interact with them too. So yeah, we can definitely do these better. This was just last minute. I was at work. I was like, we're gonna do this today, pretty much. But
I'm a
sorry.
lead on this one.
Huh? I'm interrupting, but Zach, were you saying something?
Oh
Nope.
no.
This is Jank. So my final thought I just want to throw out there. I'm gonna agree with K Flynn that Ufthak needs a data sheet, but I think really what they need to do is just make his Legends data sheet official. That Legends data sheet actually kind of slaps. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was making sure I was interrupting you guys. Oh wait,
I'll give my
speaking of
final thought next.
Super chat. Flynn responded with a $5 super chat. He said, "Give Uftak a data sheet for Gork and Mork's sake," like you were just mentioning right now. And they do have theirs. I think the one issue I have with all war bosses is too low amount of attacks. Just saying, like.
Yeah,
Don't like
I agree. I can agree with
don't
that.
like the amount of attacks, so I would like that to change. And his data sheet would be sick, but it just seems a little weird with how low his attack profile is and his only 2 damage. So a hammer should be 3 damage, in my opinion, and
agree with that.
or just function better as a whole in some kind of way. But I'm with you on that. It's not that bad to have deep strike or anti-vehicle.
I'd also rather that instead of his Titanic reroll wound roll rule, I'd rather instead of that he had the +1 to hit, just because you really want that with your breaking boys or your knobs when you're deep striking them.
It's true. I think that's one of the biggest criticism against Squigs is that there's so many easy ways to make them better. And the most obvious one is give them +1 to hit and AP. Well, I said one, but honestly, either one of those is a huge help because +1 to hit means that their volume factor goes up so they can still at least bang it out with infantry, elite infantry to a certain degree, stuff like that with just the volume. And then if you give them more AP and that data sheet ability, then at least they actually work into their vehicles. So like, yeah, for sure. But shout out to Flynn because Uftak, like I've said several times in other streams, is one of those models that I think is a dang shame and makes no sense that he's in Legends right now with where orcs are headed. Very, very easy for them to take him out of Legends. And it would just make sense with the literature, with the books and everything like that. So people can actually have a epic character war boss. Because remember, we do not have a typical normal epic character war boss. We just have Gaz.
Yep.
So, Brandon, any last thoughts, Big Mac?
Yeah. Last thoughts. I would say super excited for the new edition. I would say for everybody that, for all orc players, not to sound too much like a shill, I think that, if we find somebody to split with, or if you just get it yourself, everybody get one of these boxes. So that way GW can feel good about having orcs be the limelight of an edition so it doesn't flop and they never do it again, right? Excited to see what happens. There was a very specific weird boy that I'm not seeing as a new model announcement that I would have really liked. But I'm super excited. Yeah, Tara got it right there, Zogward. If we could get Zogward back,
oh hell yeah,
the world would be a better place.
Zogward the run herder. We got Zod. I mean, but no, yeah, it's a good point. Orcs are in a good spot, and there's still a lot to reveal. So we're gonna have to do more call-in shows. We'll have a normal show tomorrow. Don't worry. I'm still gonna do a normal streams. These are just additional streams. Of course, it's love to the members. Also, so if you're a member, anybody can be in this. There's members in chat right now that if you were in Discord and you need another way to reach out so we can call in for you, that's good too. We got First Boy, Weird Boy, we got Jay, Blood, Murder Mouth. We have a bunch of Flynn. We have a bunch of people that are channel members, Talia, that could be in here too. So for you guys know for the future, this is really fun, and I have a good time with this talking to you guys. And yeah, we can expand this, and I'm gonna do more members content, and I'm gonna end up doing that battle report. Like I said, I should do it for that game I played against those Space Wolves. It was a generally pretty fun game, even though it was a bit odd, but it was a fun game altogether against Space Wolves. So, that being said, a lot of new content, a lot of new times that we can stream. So, if you like it, we did a good job. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments. Thanks to everybody that was here. There's always one thing to keep in mind, though, is don't cross our wall.